Hello everybody, TheSuffollkRam here from Rand Nerds. One's my review of Doctor Who Season 11, Episode 1, The Woman Who Fell to Earth. There may be some minor spoilers ahead, so if you don't think spoiled, turn off now. So, Woman Who Fell to Earth. So it starts off with a blogger, I suppose, a chap called Ryan, and he's talking, just starts a monologue about the greatest woman alive who's smart, and so forth, and it's clear they're setting up for us to think that's the Doctor. It then flashes to a story about, well, we see him trying to ride a bike. He doesn't do a very good job of it. Long story short, it's a bit of a tantrum, chucks a bike off a cliff, walks down the hill, it's not a cliff, it's a hill, and this green thing appears. I call it green, might be yellow, I'm kind of blind. This thing appears in the air like a box, and he sort of touches this, and the next thing you know, this big alien tangine thing appears in the forest, and he thinks, perhaps I'd best call for help on this. What follows a bit later on is we then, after the local police get involved, they find out what the town, they find it a bit odd. Then a train, and these are seemingly unrelated, moving through somewhere. I did say in the promo, but I can't remember what they said. Something crashes into it, and this big sort of ball of tentacly things starts making its way down the train, and shortly after that, crash through the roof. Who appears? The new Doctor. So begins the basic setup. So it starts off with two things that are clearly meant to be related: this alien thing and this train thing, but no real sign of how they're related. Now, I've been told that Chris Chibnall likes doing these sort of plot lines where two sort of similar things tied together. I've not watched Broadchurch, so I can't comment, so I don't know if that's how accurate that is. But I've been told that's the case, so it's the style of his writing. He wrote this episode, but it's the style of his writing now moving in. So it's quite a well-paced episode. It has got some interesting issues with it. Later off, the alien pod thing gets moved. And sorry, the pod was a bit of a spoiler there. Gets moved. I did wonder how on earth the guy moved it, as it established it's quite heavy and it's in the middle of a forest. Yet this guy someone manages to move it in a van. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to. And here again, incidental to the plot. So this carries on. The basic sort of story follows down the route of, let's find out what this thing is, what the other thing is, how they relate together, what they're doing here, and it's got a few twists and turns on the way. What sort of path that leads down to the initial feelings that the Doctor has about it is not what actually ends up happening. It flips and changes quite a few times, and that's quite nice. I like the fact how the way it sort of gradually ties itself together and moves together. The plot itself, I think, is actually quite decent for us. I actually really enjoy it. It's a very decent first episode plot. Moved on quite nicely. My only thing I did have with it is at the very end, there's first thing throws a little bit of a twist at the end, which I wasn't expecting. Something happens at the climax of the main story, and something happens to somebody you weren't expecting it to. At least I wasn't expecting it to. It wasn't usual Doctor Who fare. Doctor Who tends to be quite light-hearted at most times and tends to be too grim. And this was definitely not a light-hearted start. What then goes on to the last part of the episode after they deal with the main threat, I feel that the last section of it drags on a little bit after they've got to establish Doctor Who's the new character and got to know what she's like, and it does drag on somewhat as they go around sort of setting her up. That seems to feel quite tacked on. Something that I think they could have perhaps put through either doing the episode itself or perhaps beginning the next episode. It just didn't feel like fit in there. But those are always awkward bits, sort of, as they establishing the Doctor, because you've got to establish, her new personality. You've got to establish what she's into, what sort of style she likes, what's the task going to look like, who she's going to end up befriending. You've got to establish all that quite early on, and some perhaps do better enough, and this wasn't the greatest execution of ours. I don't feel like it to me. It just felt a little bit. I hate episodes where we feel like something's been chopped on the end at the last minute just to add an extra bit of, we add this in to add a bit of extra context. I didn't quite like that, if I'm honest. But it didn't detract too much. Still a very strong episode. Still really good cast and crew in there, which we'll discuss in a moment, and the creatures in it were really cool. So overall, a good episode. So moving on to cast and crew, we best start with talking about the main lady herself, Jodie Whittaker, as the new Doctor. I must admit, when it first got announced that the new Doctor was going to be a woman, I was a little bit on the cynical side of it. Had they done it for the correct reason, or were they just trying to sort of show how hyper-training were? And I wasn't on quite the bandwagon of absolute actual hate. And I know there's a certain people there who hate the fact that she got cast and will probably never even watch this series or watch it and just give terrible scathing reviews to every single episode because they are one woman in the cast. I had initial misgivings, but I've sort of thought, I'll give it a go, I'll see how it is, I'll see how she is. And a bit like Bill Potts last season, who I had similar for, who the initial trailer sent out with her I thought looked awful, and it still was an awful trailer sent out for her. In the episode, she works very well. In actual fact, I liked her. I was quite surprised how quickly I warmed to her and felt that, yeah, she is the Doctor. I really warmed to her really quickly, and I'm pleased. I take back my initial misgivings. Obviously, we've got another 9 episodes to go, so we'll see how things go. But yeah, I take back what I said. Hands up. I think she's going to be fine. But yeah, and and by sympathy and actually the fact that she's going to bring a different style to it, and yeah, she worked all right. So yeah, I can't see why I have any problems with her, and I look forward to seeing more episodes of her. So yeah, if I had a hat, I would eat it right now. But yeah, so enjoyed her quite well. But yeah, she's definitely brought a different alteration. Can't really quite place what she saw of Emily. She's got a bit of Capaldi sort of style, not quite so out there. Because I always felt like he almost had a bit like dementia, but she hasn't. She's not quite out there. So yeah, a bit. She's actually reminds me a bit more of Matt Smith style, a little bit, sort of mixture. But we'll see how she develops in the next few episodes. That'll be interesting to see. So the main cast who you counted most of the episode with, you've got a chap called Graham, played by Bradley Walsh. I don't know, it's Bradley Walsh. I'm terrible at people's names and actors. Playing an ex-bus driver who is married to a lady called Grace, played by Sharon D. Clarke. And they basically are the people sort of their grandson, called Ryan Sinclair, played by Dawson Cole. He's Ryan's step-grandfather, Graham is, and Grace is his grandmother, and you can tell the relationship between them it's not exactly they hate each other, but they're not best of friends. He hasn't accepted him as a grandfather, although Graham is trying a little bit. I guess that's, I suppose, it's no secret now that these are going to be the characters for the rest of the next few seasons. The rest of it sort of going to be the pounds for some episodes in the season. It doesn't surprise me that those two are going to have a bit of a dynamic there of sort of gain. So there's also going to be a story of them two getting gradually not seeing eye to eye. They don't hate each other, they're not seeing eye to eye, to gradually gain along at the end and becoming friends. I'm guessing that's the trajectory they're aiming to have with those two, through the bits and pieces. Like I said, it was interesting. What I liked about it was it's very easy. I think most people would write those characters. If it's the step-grandfather, it's or any step-parent, or any step-relative, I should say, it's generally written as we hate this person, they don't get on with so-and-so, and that's conflict. I'd say this one, it feels like Ryan doesn't hate him, but doesn't really see him as his grandfather, which is understandable, because he's quite old when they got married, so I understand that, and I don't think it's important that Graham gets called grandfather Ryan, because they're adults now. Ryan, I don't know how old Ryan's meant to be, but even though they're adults now, they don't have to have that sort of relationship and have to talk to each other like that anymore. The other character main character we appear in this episode is Yasmin Khan, played by Mandit Gill. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies if I'm not. She's playing a police officer who Ryan contacts early on, and that's how our main characters all get very quickly tied together as the main group. So I think characters in it where it's done the right thing of having a few characters and writing them well. That's always to me the key of a good series, is you don't bombard lots of characters or something, because it's better to have good characterisation amongst half a dozen characters than blind characterisation amongst 10, 20 characters. And generally some of the poor episodes have done that approach. So I appreciate what they've done on that one. That makes more sense, and it works well. And one thing I can say is Chris Chibnall can write characters quite well, so they seem to work very well. And there are a few characters in here who appeared briefly. You've got one brief character. Now I'm going to have to start working my list. A chap called Cole. There's one called Rahul, which is I won't spoil what he does. There's quite a few other actually characters. I'm not going to go through them all. Who appear, and they do seem to have certain personality types. Just a very quick flashing back to episode with Carl. At the end of the episode, it reveals what Carl does for a living, and then he has a major problem with what he does for a living. Not personally, he dislikes what he does for a living, but he has a situation or something he dislikes that would interfere. And from a safety aspect, that seems very dangerous to do. I mean, apparently not put that situation due to family. But it still seems a very dangerous thing to do to me, but I felt that. But they did actually, at least they highlighted that in the episode, so that feels well. So, on to production of the episode. That's the main thing. So, special effects. Really well done. The monsters in it, one looks like an electrified bundle of elastic bands. Another one, when I first saw was, these are some minor spoilers what it looks like. Oh, it's a Cyberman. At least it said a Spider-Man there, but it's not right. Then it turns not. But actually, he's got some cool armour, and there's some cool features of his face which look really good, which I won't spoil. They've seen like this sort of dry ice pack to his armour, because he comes somewhere it's meant to be really cold. So they fit this sort of dry ice pack to him, perhaps it's CO2 probably, well, that's the same thing. He's constantly producing like sort of condensation around him all the time. That's very cool. It's obviously a practical effect. If it's not practical, I'll be amazed. That's a very good looking effect. That really sold it well and looked really good. The Tangine alien thingy bob didn't look quite so good. They had a sort of fakeness to it. Some of it seems to be the bigger things are, the hardest to make him look real. And this definitely had a very plasticky, fiberglassy, moulded look to it that didn't quite work. But overall, I mean, we also get a new sonic screwdriver in this episode, which looks very bizarre. It looks almost like it's got a proper handle to it, so it looks like a little sonic electric screwdriver. I suppose a sonic screwdriver really is. But yeah, that sort of appears later on. I said I thought the writing was spot on, very well paced. I felt the overall graphics they did use were quite good. Okay, worked well. Oh, we've also got a new conductor. Now, I'm going to look his name up, because I really should have prepared more for this when I was about to do this. Okay. Once again, apologies if I pronounced this wrong. Sengun Akinola. Okay. BAFTA award-winning breakthrough Brit and graduate of the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire. So he's a new composer for the episode, replacing Murray Gold, who left last season. And definitely the music is very different. It'd be too easy for him to copy all these sort of voice of the music. I realised that the end credits were really old school Who. When you get to the old credits, feel like really, really sort of Tom Baker, John Pertwee, sort of Who. Really, really worked well. So I like those old school credits. They look great. They looked good and they sounded great. And the sound music that did appear for the episode was very good as well. So nice that we've got a new composer in whose looks and does sound very differently. So this is obviously Chris Chibnall's first episode. I think he's done a good start. There's no sign of any long-running plot arc, which Moffat like to do. And just saying if he was the like to do, but Moffat tends to take his a bit too far. Whether Chibnall will do a similar sort of thing, whether he's going to sort of ease in gently, I don't know. But there's definitely a feel to it, which was quite nice. So yeah, production I have to say I thought was pretty darn good, pretty special about the whole thing. Can't say any major faults of it at all. Yeah, good. So final thoughts. Great, good first episode. I was one about Jodie Whittaker. Hands up. I'm quite pleased. This is sort of a taste of what the episodes are going to be like to come. I have no real fear. I really enjoyed it from sort of start to finish. You know, it worked really well apart from that end bit. So yeah, as an opening episode, had to give it thumbs up. I really liked it, and I look forward to the rest of the season. I I like the fact that at the very end of the episode they gave names of like all the actors who are going to be appearing the rest of the season, which seems a bit weird. I wasn't expecting that, but fair enough. So we get to look forward to next week's episode, and he shows a trailer, but I wasn't really paying attention to that, so unfortunately I don't know what the next few episodes are going to be like. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Good series, a good start to the new series, and let's hope this may continue. Well, I've been TheSuffollkRam. Thank you for watching me this review. It's been a while since I've done one of these, about just over a year, so it feels a bit weird getting my phone on camera again. But if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel. We do mainly podcasts on the channel now. We start to do a bit of live streaming as well, but mainly podcasts. We are trying to do some more videos as well. So, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of the review of next week's episode. Until then, guys, see you later.